The day my kayak got towed, I had no idea it would end up changing everything. I mean, who would have thought that one little incident would set off a chain reaction that would flip my whole neighborhood upside down? But that's exactly what happened. Let me tell you how it all went down. So, there I was, standing in front of the tow truck driver, dripping wet, holding this fish I had just caught, best catch of my season. By the way, while the guy's standing there looking at me with this deadpan expression. Behind him, my kayak, me peaceful little green boat, the one I had just been fishing on, was strapped to the back of the truck like some kind of criminal. I hadn't even made it back to the dock yet, and there it was, getting hauled off. I thought, what the hell just happened? It didn't make sense. I was fishing, for crying out loud. And as I stood there, trying to wrap my head around the situation, the tow truck driver points to this lady in a golf cart up on the hill. Lady in the golf cart told us it was a rogue flotation device, he says. Said it needed impounding right away. A rogue flotation device? Are you kidding me? I was fishing. In my kayak. On the lake I've lived next to for years. I'll tell you, at first, I wasn't even angry. I was just confused. How do you tow a kayak off the water without even alerting the person using it? I mean, come on. So, let's rewind a little bit. 2 hours before all this went down, it was one of those perfect mornings. The kind of morning that makes you feel like life's a little bit golden. The lake was shimmering, the air still, with only the buzz of dragonflies and the occasional splash of fish breaking the surface. I was out there on the water, paddling slowly, just taking in the peace. I had been living at the edge of this lake for 5 years. Built my house with my own hands. I'd started a little bait shop by the road, and life was good. It was simple. Nothing much bothered me. That is, until Karen showed up. Karen, with her obsessive need to control everything. 6 months ago, she became president of the HOA, and she came in like a storm. Measuring grass heights, counting flamingos, you name it. But I never thought she'd touch the lake. I thought it was safe. That was my escape. My slice of calm in a world filled with HOA notices and people nitpicking every little thing. But that morning, everything changed. When I finally paddled back to shore, something felt off. I looked toward my usual spot by the dock, and there were orange cones everywhere. A plastic chain. A laminated sign that read, "Lake access temporarily restricted per HOA directive." I thought it was a joke. I dragged my kayak halfway onto the sand and started walking toward my bait shop, and then I saw it. A truck was backing up to the water, and before I could even ask the driver what was going on, he started winching my kayak onto the truck. I was furious, to say the least. I mean, really? I had just been fishing in it. And the guy, without hesitation, hands me a yellow citation for unauthorized vessel use, failure to comply with watercraft registration, and illegal mooring. Due Law 200. My kayak, that I'd owned for 7 years, was getting towed, and I had to pay due Law 200 for it. But the money wasn't even the worst part. No, it was the principle of it all. It was Karen. She was using her position to control everyone's life. And this was just the latest move in her quest for power. So, I did what any reasonable person would do when pushed too far. I started thinking about how to turn the tables. I called up my buddy Charlie, and when I told him what happened, he laughed and said, "You should just buy the lake. Own it. Then you can tow her golf cart for unauthorized shoreline activity." It was a joke, of course, but something about it stuck with me. Charlie worked in the county records office, and as it turns out, he knew a thing or two about the lake's lease. That night, after a few beers, Charlie dropped a bombshell. The HOA didn't actually own the lake. The developers still owned it, and the lease was up for renewal in 6 weeks. The HOA had first rights to renew, but anyone could submit a counteroffer. And if the counteroffer was good enough, the county could choose a new lessee. Well, I didn't sleep much that night. My mind was racing with possibilities. I could buy the lake. I could take it away from her. The next morning, I went straight to the county office, grabbed the paperwork, and started reading. The lease was ridiculously outdated, and the price wasn't even that high. It was buried under layers of bureaucracy, and no one had bothered to take a close look at it. I called a lawyer friend of mine who owed me a favor, and after he read through everything, his response was music to my ears. If I filed everything correctly and bid just 10 fan tram over the last lease, I had a real shot at winning. So I did it. I filed everything quietly. No one knew, not even the neighbors. I wanted Karen to be blindsided. I wanted to see her face when she realized that the lake she thought she controlled was no longer in her hands. I spent the next few days buried in paperwork and contracts, while everyone else in the neighborhood went on with their lives mowing lawns, taking out trash. But I was working on something much bigger. The whole time, Karen kept pushing more ridiculous rules banning water-active VY ties before 9 a.m., limiting dock usage, all of it. But she had no idea what was coming. She thought she was still in control, but I was getting ready to turn the tide. The day my bid was finally considered, I knew it was only a matter of time. I had outsmarted her. I had done my homework, and I was about to pull off the perfect move. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. Karen called an emergency HOA meeting. She was ranting about lake safety, kayak registration, and how the HOA was the rightful owner of the lake. The room was full of her followers, and she was in her element. But I was ready. I stood up in the back of the room, walked to the front, and laid down a piece of paper in front of her. It was the county's official document. The waterway lease transfer agreement. It was mine. The lake was mine. I didn't even have to say much. I just stood there, letting her read the words. The board members gasped. The room fell silent. Karen's smug expression faltered, and I could see the panic creeping in. I calmly told the room, "I'm now the legal leaseholder and operator of this lake." The room erupted in shock, followed by laughter from the residents who had been under her thumb for far too long. But the best part? I wasn't done. I told her, "Oh, and don't worry. I plan to keep the lake open to the public, but anyone with a record of harassment or unauthorized enforcement active VY tile, that disqualifies you." The board members, once terrified of Karen, started turning on her. One of them, Steve, quietly said, "Actually, Karen, if the lease is no longer in our name, your lake policies don't apply anymore." The room was buzzing with excitement, and Karen was left sputtering. It was beautiful. Karen, of course, didn't give up easily. She tried a smear campaign, claiming I had stolen the lake, even wore a hoodie and oversized sunglasses to try and sneak onto the lake. But it was too late for her. I had installed sprinklers along the dock to make sure any attempt to trespass was met with humiliation. And it worked. Eventually, the HOA board had no choice but to remove her. The residents spoke out about the years of intimidation and bogus fines. The board voted her out, and just like that, Karen's reign was over. It felt like a breath of fresh air. The neighborhood was alive again. People started enjoying the lake again, and the energy shifted from fear to freedom. Now Karen's gone. The lake is mine, but it's for the community. The HOA's power was shattered, and I didn't need to do anything drastic to make it happen. I just outsmarted her. It's funny how things work out. Sometimes, one little act of defiance a kayak getting towed can change everything. So here's what I'll leave you with. In this world, there are people who try to control others, to bully, to manipulate. But if you stand your ground, if you're patient, if you outthink them, you can turn the tables. And in the end, it's not just about winning, it's about making sure people like Karen never win again. What do you think? Was I right to take the lake from her? Should we let people like Karen get away with their nonsense, or do we fight back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you've had your own experience with an HOA nightmare or a Karen in your life, share it with me. I'd love to hear your story.